The two greatest spiritual philosophies of the two greatest ancient civilizations, those of India and China, say the same thing. Playfulness translates into true prayer. Yes, the Taoism of China tells us to be playful in our approach. That is the true way of Taoism. And at the heart of Vedanta is this entire attitude that everything happens through playfulness, everything happens through Leela. There is absolutely no need to be so serious that we forget this basic heart of Vedanta. You see, Vedanta has got embroiled in so much jargon, so much terminology, that the very basic essence of it, that which is voiced through the great Vedantic texts, the Yog Vashisht Maharamayan, the Avdut Gita, the Ashtavakra Gita, that has become shrouded by this over excessive jargon. There is no need for it. At the crux of it is the idea that we need to be full of a zestfulness for life. We need to be of a certain aliveness from our inner. Cheerfulness is the way of both Taoism and Vedanta. And through this very cheerfulness, one finds that the different fragments of self attain to an organic unity. And through organic unity is the bliss of the soul, the realization of the soul. And our ability for action in the world becomes intensely dynamic. It is like sunlight, which has the power to catalyze the process of photosynthesis within the plant. The very idea of cheerfulness, non-seriousness, catalyzes our energies in such a way that they come to an organic unity. And through this very celebration of our energy, we are able to release our inner potential, our inner potentiality towards higher achievement, towards the realization of our authentic selves. So this is a very multidimensional way of looking at spirituality. It is not looking at spirituality through the dimension of certain rituals. No, rituals are not the way of Taoism. Rituals are not the way of Vedanta. Yes, in Vedanta, there is a part of the Karma Kanda which is really the more ritualistic part of the Vedas. But Vedanta itself is really to move towards an ecstasy of being, a celebration of being. So in this way, both Indian and Chinese mysticism have shown us that there is no need to get into the seriousness of religion as such, the seriousness of philosophy as such. It is the quality of being that matters. It is the quality of being that should be meditative. If the quality of being is meditative, there is no need for meditation either. You'll be surprised that this is a very emphatic part of the Ashtavakra Gita, for example. The sage Ashtavakra Gita is telling Janak that you have to completely drop the whole idea of meditation, the meditator and so on. Your life itself is meditative when you bring a certain quality of being to it. And that quality of being is the consciousness of a greater playfulness, the quality of a greater bliss, the quality of a greater cheerfulness through all that we do. Make this the very breath of your life. Make this the very vibe, the very rhythm of yourself. And then you find that you become spontaneously divine. Nothing discourages you. You see, why do people lose hope? People lose hope because they get into projection of serious consequences. They start thinking about the worst that can happen. But what is the worst that can happen? Actually, there's nothing for us to lose. The only thing we need to lose is that we need to lose this conditioning about how we need to be. And if you lose this conditioning about how you need to be, then the innermost part of yourself comes to a certain fruition. Otherwise, it can never come to a fruition. It is too self-consciously caught within the conditioned, within the limited. This is a cosmic law, but it's also a very creative part of what authentic mysticism means. And this quality has been there in all the mystics. Not on the religious side, but if you look at the mystical side, say of a Jesus Christ, for example. The religious side of Jesus Christ, the biblical side of Jesus Christ is a very serious one. But if you look at the essence, the deeper teachings, the hidden teachings, the teachings of the Essenes and so on, they look at Jesus as a person who was much of the world, who celebrated life with people, who mingled with them. So too is the whole character of people like Kabir in India. So Kabir might not have called himself a Vedantin, but actually he lived Vedanta in himself. He continued happily being a weaver. He continued happily doing his work, but with a spirit of cheerfulness. He never taught a particular kind of meditation and so on. He was teaching through the very core, the very idea of finding a greater joy, moving towards a greater consciousness in life. That itself creates bliss, that itself creates realization, that itself takes us towards what we might call the path of enlightenment. And this way, Chinese Taoism has been intensely dynamic. You see, what it has done is it has cut out the over ritualistic part that even Chinese religion had got into, Chinese philosophy had got into. It says there's absolutely no need. You are not looking at the depth. Look at the depth. When you look at the depth, all outer forms disappear. It doesn't matter what you are on the outside. It doesn't matter what you are doing on the outside. It is the inner quality that is the starting place. If you miss the starting place, if you miss the quality of being that you are doing something in, then what's the point? It's a complete waste of life. The functioning of whatever you do should not come from your conditioned mind. The functioning should come from a deeper space of consciousness, and that deeper space of consciousness is your inner natural state, that state of bliss, that state of joy, that state of cheerfulness. Function from there, and then you'll find that there's absolutely no difficulty in life. You'll find a great release of your energy happening. You'll find that it is what we have been taught, the lesson of being serious when it comes to religion, the lesson of working and thinking according to certain norms and conditions when it comes to thinking about mind, body, soul. That is what prevents us from functioning from our interior core of being. But only when you function from your interior core of being can there be a flowering, there be a fruition and a realization of your potential. You see, it's like a plant. A plant grows naturally. It bears flower naturally. So Taoism looks at the human being also as capable of flowering, capable of bearing fruit, but only when you function according to your natural condition, your natural being, what in Vedanta has been called Swadharma. So through this we can see that intensely what is intrinsically wrong with us is that our inner beings lack this lightness, lack this buoyancy, lack this sense of rhythmic dynamism, which is how nature functions. Nature functions according to a certain rhythm, a certain dynamism, a certain vibe. Man has stopped functioning according to that. We function according to our limited thoughts, and therefore we drop out of the natural way. And Vedanta and Taoism tell us, just come back to your natural way. Then you'll find that all is light within you. Feel bathed with your inner light. Feel nourished by your inner light. The problem is we want to feel nourished by outer things, outer entertainments, outer possessions, outer acquisitions and so on. But no, the way of Tao, the way of Vedanta is to be nourished by the inner light. That is the whole key.